see there's 2 people, so that must be us. It shows, like, the person icon, and there's a number 2 next to it. Now, I'm on
Okay.
mobile, so my view probably looks a little bit different than yours.
Um, you can't accept share a co-hosting on desktop. You can only accept it on mobile. So I've just got it propped up against my monitor. So yeah.
Text it to someone. Well, so far it's just us. We'll just I know. I mean, that's okay. We'll pretend Yeah. Wait, did you actually log on super early?
I always forget about that. Yes, it's mountain, but we're not really mountain. We're one more over. So yeah, all good. Arizona time.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, it looks like we have one person on. I don't know who it is. Hello?
You have that power, and I do not.
No, it doesn't show me who it is. I'm hoping
Okay.
they maybe if anybody's on here, put your name
Tell us
in
who
the
you are.
comments. We can say hi. Yeah, tell us who you are so we
Yeah.
can say hi. Doesn't look like I have access to the chat at all, Kevin, actually.
Yeah, I can see it in
As
my, well,
long as that's your view, then
yeah, I've got I've got the YouTube stream up on my browser just in case someone
okay,
posts
cool.
and I can actually see. So I should be able to see it. So
Cool.
live chat, that's what I want. Live chat. There we go. All right.
Well, cool beans.
Oh, we have Teresa Camarada.
Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. We got some people coming in. Hi,
We
Teresa.
got
Yeah,
people.
Teresa was a musician at. Do you remember when I told you the story? The first time I ever played at the little pizza bar in Phoenix.
Yeah.
First time I ever played at open mic night. Teresa was there,
Oh, no
and
way.
so yeah, so we go back a ways. I haven't seen you in years, Teresa, but I mean, she saw the very first time I played live in Arizona, which is pretty cool. Thanks for tuning in. That's super fun. I'm glad you're
That's awesome.
here. I'm so happy. Well,
You always
cool.
think
Yeah,
about
I
that
wanted
about
to go ahead.
just think about the first time you see like an artist. If you ever see an artist's first gig, and then to watch them, 10, 15, 20, 25 years old, whatever, it must be an
Yes.
amazing kind of thing to see that progression.
Have you had that experience with an artist? Like, can you think of that you saw before they were kind of anything, and then you saw them later on in their career?
Oh man, I think I saw Living Color on their first
Oh,
tour, which was insane. I mean, those guys were just crazy. Throwing guitars into the audience, and the audience would throw them back, and it was dangerous. It was crazy, but they weren't like Living Color back then. They were on this little tiny tour of 250 seat pubs in England. So
yeah,
it was amazing. The energy was just spectacular. So
that's
I think that's the
so
only one I can
fun.
think of.
No, because those make for the good memories of like, oh, I saw them when they were playing this coffee shop or this coffee house
Yeah.
or this pub. It's pretty fun. Oh, we have another person, Mel. Hello, Mel.
Podcast. Melissa, I have 3 podcasts. That's all I do. I sit in my basement and I talk to people on the internet. So
Wait, I didn't know that you had a queen one. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So Melissa's out in Quebec. So
Okay.
a
Oh,
couple hours
very
east of
cool.
here. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, cool. I think we've got 5 people, including
Ooh.
us. That's
Yeah.
fun. Oh, also, the umbrella is attached to the chair because it's so hot. It's like 100 and during the day it's like 110 degrees, and so
What?
they put these little yeah, Arizona's crazy. So they put these umbrellas attached to the chairs. When Graham first saw you, his eyes lit up. He knew you would do good things. Oh, that's so sweet, Teresa. I know. What a journey it's been. from Fatso's Pizza. That's so fun. That's right.
And Nirvana said, everyone starts by just sucking in a garage with their friends. Most bands, that's how most bands start. They just get together, they suck, and then they get better. And then eventually they don't suck so much, and maybe someone will pay them to play, you know?
And the coffee shops and the open mic nights, that's like the most fun way to start because you meet the best people there. The best communities are there. I was hopping from open mic night to open mic night, and it was just the nicest people ever. So share this live on my Facebook page so people can rewatch. I'm just gonna leave it up as a video. We can probably get started with our chicken happy hour. Wait, I'm gonna show everybody. So yeah, love it. Let's just set the scene real quick. So I'm tuned in from Arizona. I'm actually in Arizona right now for a couple days, and I am house sitting for a friend. So I popped over from LA to Arizona to house sit for a friend. And my friend has chickens, and she's meticulous about caring for these chickens. And so you have to sit outside with them while they eat their dinner so that the doves don't eat the food. So I'm in a chair. It looks like a Mary Poppins situation. So I'm here, real down home of me. And Kevin, where are you tuned in from?
So it's very smoky here. So we're kind of staying indoors and staying out of the smoke at the moment. So, but other than that, life is good. So, yeah, yeah. So we're getting, I mean, we've had, yeah, we get up to, I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit. So 27, 28 Celsius, and it's getting up to into sort of 30 degrees range, which I think is about 97, something like that. So it's too hot for me. Yeah, yeah it's too hot for me. I don't think so.
Celsius. You cut it out. Yeah, I don't drink it either, but it's on every shelf everywhere here, and a lot of my friends drink Celsius. So that's the only thing I know as in regards to temperature, which is nothing at all. Anyway, so welcome everybody to the live stream. We're gonna get started. So I'm here with Kevin Brown. Kevin runs multiple podcasts. I just learned he does three. I did my first one of my first, I think, official like artist style interviews with Kevin on his podcast, The Tom Petty Project, which is super cool. You guys should check it out. Kevin, what are the other two podcasts that you do?
Like Outlaw Clash, which is another. All I do is talk about music with other middle-aged white men, which we should probably try and do something about that. But it's okay. It's what we do when we get to 50. Absolutely. Yeah. So and we chatted. I was looking back. Yeah, it was September last year that we first chatted, and I'd reached out to you because I'd seen some of the posts that you were putting out on Threads about the sort of the you're in the last stages of putting this set of songs together for this album. And so it was something that I just sort of connected with something you'd written. I reached out and we got online and you sent me the album ahead of time. And I've had it for 9 months, you know, when most people haven't had it. So I've listened to it at least 30 times. So
And yeah, you've been listening to it since September. That's actually crazy because so I would so much was like so much has changed since September with the album and with the development of it. I mean, obviously it's set to release it very soon. Um,
yeah.
But yeah, that's wild. And it was just from Threads, which I had pretty
Yeah.
much just created Threads like a couple months prior. Like, well, I guess Twitter's not a thing anymore, so I'm gonna try out Threads. And it was so random because the people that I connected, like the initial people that I connected with on there, are still a part of my like digital sphere, digital world.
Yeah. It's weird sometimes, and I mean, because I don't use it either. And I'd posted something there for one of my podcasts. I was scrolling through them like, when I read that you were talking about sort of just being exhausted and this process is sort of finally we're getting somewhere.
Oh,
And
I
because
remember
I'm,
that.
because most of my friends, a lot of my friends are musicians and indie musicians, I totally get that. And I understand like that whole okay, writing the songs is one thing, recording the songs is another, mixing them. Then you got to get into promotion. Then you got to get into all that nonsense, which most artists are not trained in it. It's not your background, so it's this overwhelming thing. So I thought, well, I'm going to reach out here, and then I went and watched. I think actually the song we're going to be talking about. It was either that one or there was something you posted on Insta. It was either this one or Tell Me. And I remember listening to it. It was just you and piano, and I thought, this is good. Like, there's definitely something going on here. I want to talk to this woman. And so I reached out, and I've reached out to lots of different people. I wasn't expecting he got back to me. We had a great conversation in September, and like I said, I've been listening to this album on the reg for 9 months. Like, it's a sensational piece of work. Oh yeah, you'd be up there. And still will be once it comes out.
3 years now, and I'm so sick of not being able to have just a way to just like, hey, here's my song, just to share it. Um, and I'm very excited. So this Friday is the first single is Harmless, which I've been promoting. If you visit, if you look at if anybody goes to my Instagram page, I feel bad because Instagram and Facebook, it's just like reel after reel after reel of the same section of the freaking song. It's like just the chorus. But the goal is to find bigger audiences. But for the people that follow me, they're pretty much just having to see the same chorus over and over again. I'm like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick of hearing this. I just want the whole thing to be out.
I think people are going to be really surprised in the construction of it. And I mean, I was telling you last time, I still cannot count. I can't count that verse. I don't know what time signature in. I don't know how many bars are. I don't know what it is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the verses are not were not recorded to a click, and then we had to shift things in such a way to get it to a certain tempo. And uh but yeah, it's a wild ride. Yeah.
An intense journey. Finding your voice and feeling okay can take a long, long time. This song is my anthem of resilience. So I wanted to sort of jump off from there a little bit and sort of get you to expand on that a little bit. What you mean by that, an anthem of resilience?
Um, I haven't really. I've kept my kind of personal narrative, personal story offline for the most part. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's been 10 years now since I started writing most of the songs, and so the songs kind of narrate my upbringing in the Midwest, and yeah, I mean, it just kind of tells my narrative story through more poetic style lyrics, but um, it definitely is more of a vulnerable project. I think a lot of people know me for like gigs and covers and an occasional original here and there. Um, but it's been a transformative experience being able to kind of integrate my personal story of surviving an experience that kind of was like a fundamentalist Midwest family that functioned more like a cult, and leaving that and having to start from scratch after moving out west at 19. And I kept most of that journey at the time private because I was, just kind of you don't really know how to talk about what you're going through when you're going through it sometimes. But now that I'm in the latter half of my 20s and have built this beautiful career and life, it feels special to release this debut that kind of starts at the very beginning. Um, yeah, it's gonna feel good to release it and feel like I can like move on a little bit creatively. Yeah, any too many spoilers, but there will be a couple singles that I'm really excited about. The first one being Harmless. Before I release the album, I'll be releasing these singles, and picking them was so tough because, as you know, I mean, you've heard the album. There's a bit of a range of style, sound, and genre over the album, but I decided that vulnerability was going to be my like opening shot with this album, because I'm doing the songwriter thing, which unfortunately means that you got to tell stories for better or for worse. And I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna go the songwriter route and tell my story, like I gotta just start from the beginning. And with Harmless, yeah, Harmless is very much like the narrative timeline of being in it, being in that specific type of environment that I was in, and my experience of being a woman in that environment versus uh, the perspective of being outside of it, and writing the song after having survived that culture and that experience, and realizing that, yeah, the thing that was kind of used against me was actually the thing that was my power all along. Huh. Crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big deal because you're really young when you do that and you branch out on your own. That's not easy for anyone to do. And especially for a young woman, especially a creative who's been sort of withheld from significant portions of society for a big part of their life. Once you get into that community of musicians and creative people, that must have just been like, oh my God, there is a place for me in the world and this is where I belong. And so I always get that sense from listening to you when you talk that you've always fought really hard to stay with that community and to make sure that you stay on that pathway that you know is healthy for you. So can you just talk a little bit about sort of in terms of especially with the Harmless and with this album, that sense of community and collaboration with your producer, with the musicians who played on the song and on the album, sort of how important was finding that and what was that like as you went along? How did you find those people?
It's like this could go either way. Looking back, I'm like, it's a miracle that I'm here. Like it's a miracle that I survived in the way that I did. Because what a funny industry to head into after experience at such a young age. Um, and so yeah, finding like good people was everything. And I don't even know what to say except I just feel so lucky that I found good people along the way. There were, not so good people along the way, but the people that I've ended up collaborating with, I mean, it's just been like the most organic, like strokes of luck of being in the right room, right place, right time, and I've have spent a lot of time and effort into reputation and social reputation and all those things because that's worth its weight in gold at the end of the day. Like I want to work with good people and I want to be someone that people want to work with. And so yeah, I mean when I met Justin Glasgow, who produced the album with me, or who produced the album, um we met on a very chance like studio session that he was the engineer. He was not like producing, he was just the engineer. And I got to hang out with him and we just like hit it off. It turns out he grew up an hour away from me. We're both from Michigan. And we were able to bond over different aspects of the Midwest experience, certain aspects of the Midwest experience that I had. And so I just felt so lucky of like in the middle of Los Angeles, I meet someone that grew up close to me, was familiar with the context of where I was coming from because my upbringing was pretty absurd, and not really relatable in the specifics of it. And so getting to know people on that level is always like, I don't think you're gonna, I don't know if you're really gonna understand this. And he not only got it, but shared things with me that I resonated with, and I'm like, "Oh my god." And so we were like, "We should probably make some music together." And then we ended up making the record. And that's kind of like what it's been with, you know, all the people that have really collaborated with it, and with me. There's just been like there've been really good people and have connected in all the right ways that it's felt really inspiring to me to trust, because it's like, especially because it's my story, it's like you're trusting people with the contents of the song and, you know, how they're going to engage with it and how they're going to engage with you after knowing certain things. And so, yeah, I mean, I just feel, I don't know, luck. I had no strategy. It was just like, well, hope this all turns out, hope I meet the right people, hope I find my way. And, you know, obviously it's little things over the course of a long period of time. But in retrospect, in hindsight, I can see like, oh, it all adds up. Yeah. Yeah.
7, it's because she worked her butt off. Yeah, she's smart, but she works harder. And I think it's the same in the music industry. I know that you've put the hours in, you know, the 10,000 hours to master an instrument. You've done way beyond that for both piano and voice, right? So so what I mean, what I'm getting at there is I think that you have to be alert and open to those opportunities when they present themselves and looks great. But I think the fact that you've got that work ethic and that you have the sort of obviously the talent underneath that as well, I think as long as you were always being paying attention and being aware of when those opportunities come knocking, I think you probably would have been okay anyway. So yeah, yeah.
Relive certain things, but that's just not how it works. But yeah, I feel lucky that it turned out the way it did. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Studio then and take this song in and what's that process like of making it sound the way it does? I don't want to give too much away to people, but it's got this sort of very slick pop sheen to it, an aesthetic to it that doesn't lose any of its soul. So the piano's still really impactful. Your vocal obviously is transcendent, but I'm wondering what that process was like. How comfortable with you were you with someone saying, "Well, how about if we take it in a very different direction from how you've been performing it to this point?"
Production, Justin, like the way he treated the songs, because yeah, the some of the if you heard some of these songs in their demo form, like the original form, it's like, well, that is quite different than the album. And just the little intricacies and nuances. I mean, yeah, I would send in a demo or bring in a demo, and then he kind of just like helped the song go where it needed to go. I know that I for sure was open. I was very open minded to anything. I had a particular vibe in mind. Like it had to be something that felt like true to me. Like I didn't want to have to feel like I was putting on a voice or putting on a persona. I really wanted to first and foremost be something that I loved, and so that's kind of what led the way. And I mean, it was just super collaborative. Like he would start with the demo, and would just slowly like build into it, and it was very conversational too. So it wasn't really like I didn't necessarily have a clear plan of like, okay, here's the demo. Now let's add this. It was mainly like we start with just the bare bones of the song, um, and like one little thing at a time that would lead into
Right,
like its own sort of unique path. And I think that ended up in what you're saying of like that it's like organic, but it does have that like pop sheen to it. I like that phrase that you use because I feel like that describes it perfectly. It's like this kind of middle ground of like organic pop that's feels like its own thing. No, we. I need everybody. It's a we thing. Literally, I'm an independent artist. I need it to be a we. This is a family project, everybody.
be familiar to people, and yet there's so much more substance and weight to these songs than most of the stuff that I've heard on the radio because you've got we're talking about this. There's so much complexity to these arrangements that you could just miss if you're not really listening. For music nerds like me, it's a godsend, right? Because the fifth time you listen to it, you hear something else. The 10th time you listen to it, you hear something else. This is just layered up and stacked to death, but so well mixed and balanced that nothing ever gets muddy and soupy. So I think that, like I said, I'll own it. If we can get it in front of the right people, there's something for everyone on this album. So I want to talk about, before we get into the strings thing, with this collection of songs, how did they grow? Like, how many songs did you have thinking, okay, I'm ready to write an album, ready to record an album now? How many songs came along during the process? Like, what was that sort of growth like for the entire set?
At least two, three. Three were written during the process. Consider now, the process was 2 years, so of course I'm going to be writing during those 2 years. Um, I think so. Honestly, the most like emotive, or the most serious, the most emotional songs on the record were the ones that I brought in initially, and then I think after about like maybe 4 or 5 songs, I was like, okay, we need like some levity here. Like, this is all beautiful and this is all very cathartic for me, but I'm like, this is all downer like stuff. That's where I wrote there's a track, I'll spill the beans on one track title. There's a track called I Just Want to Dance. And that was like a levity song. Uh so yeah, there's a couple tracks that were written during the making of. Initially I brought in, oh, you know what? Actually, I think Harmless was also written during the process as well. Harmless was not one that I wrote way back when. Um, and it reflects in the lyrics with the past and present tense. But because the making of the album and working on all these really intense initial songs was a pretty like emotional cathartic experience of having to sing my story, and not just, it's like I'm not in my bedroom anymore, I'm not just at my piano anymore, and now this is being produced for the world. Now there's other voices, people are hearing this, so it felt like a slow kind of like turning inside out, like a slow opening up, which is painful and quite vulnerable. And so Harmless came out of with those initial songs that I wrote, back when I was in the thick of it. Harmless kind of took me back in that space and was kind of a reflection on that era, um, but not quite from the thick of it, kind of like from the outside of it. So I think there's a reason the album does feel like that progression, is because it was written, recorded, and created during literally like 19 years old through 26. Like, it is an evolutionary album because it was written during my evolution and recovery, and created during like me really coming out of some intense years of personal transformation. So I think it kind of just reflects in the sound of like I was going through it, wrote about it, and then like also growing up and also finding my way and writing about that too. Yeah, pretty wild. Oh, I feel like we should say that if people want to put in questions, we'll have a time to like kind of scroll through. So feel free to leave questions, and if we don't answer them in real time, we'll scroll back and like collect things, guys. So whoever's watching, feel free to throw down questions. I am. I wasn't going to say anything. I'm here for a very short time, but yes, I'm playing at the Eddie V's in Scottsdale with my old jazz trio for old time's sake while I'm here. I couldn't resist. I at first booked, or not booked. I agreed to house sit for this friend as a little staycation because it's been a busy month for me. And then I just can't resist. I have to always be playing music. So I was like, well, I'll just play at my old stomping grounds for old time's sake. But I'm not going to tell anybody until now. So yes, Eddie V's this Thursday.
3 piece, right? It was a trio, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was going to say, there's a couple of things I'd noticed about it too. That I don't think the first couple of times I watched it was a great call to use an upright piano, because I think ordinarily the temptation would be in that grand setting and you've got sort of the strings there is to go grand, right, and go baby grand. But that upright piano gives that song a very specific tone that leans into the lyrical tone of it. It feels like it's got that haunting thing that you don't always necessarily get from a grand. So was that like how intentional was the selection of like it needs to be this kind of piano because I want this kind of tone versus like okay, well these are my options. Like how much of that was part of the thought process behind setting things up?
thing in Nashville. In certain once you get into circles, certain circles, everybody's at some point worked with somebody. So the studio that we recorded at is the husband of the cello player that recorded on my album. So yeah, Kara Fox is the cellist that recorded on Harmless on the album and on a couple other tracks as well. And she and her husband Jared Fox have Fox Den Studios. So that decision was solely based off of, oh, you know a guy, oh, he's like literally your husband, let's do it. And looking at his space, it came with a upright piano and yeah, so that kind of dictated. That was just like the um what's the word, I'm brain farting, like it's just a easy, like, what's the word, I'm brain farting a very word, huh? Yes. Yes, you get the big door prize. It was a very convenient decision because it was everything, everybody already knew everybody, it was all set to go. And so yeah, and I love how it turned out with what you're saying, like the upright piano, it felt like it was literally in their home, like they have an addition portion to their home that's strictly for studio, and they do a lot of different artists and really cool projects there. Um but it felt homey while at the same time that eeriness of like it feels homey but it also feels not homey. Like it feels very much like there's something going on here.
I mean, the song is still the song and the structure's still the same, but when you strip all of that away and it's just you, your voice with the piano and then those strings behind, first of all, you've got nowhere to hide with your voice, right? There's nowhere to bury your voice. You've got to be on, and obviously a phenomenal singer. But I would also love to expose these things for me as a musician, like that arpeggiated piano line that you're playing. It really sort of accentuates, oh, yeah, we got a three here. And it's very clearly three because you can sort of count it in four if you want to, depending on how you're doing it. But I love that those kind of nuances of the song really come out just because the arrangement's different. But I'd ask
Yes.
you, we were chit chatting offline. I'm again rambling here, but um, when you're playing in that situation for the first time, especially with a trio, a string trio, and you've never done that before, you've only ever performed this song as a piano, how much more emotion does that put into your performance? And how does that move you when you're actually playing the thing and singing the thing with this going on behind you?
Well, that was the very first time that I played with live strings, and it. I feel I wish that I could walk into that studio right now and just do it over again, like do it
Yeah.
again. It was so fun. I mean, once the strings come in, and especially live, they're like right behind me. The strings just bring the like this lift to the emotion and the drama, and it's like it fills in the piano. It fills in the piano because the piano is already a very full cinematic instrument. Like it's already, piano is very yeah. There's like a whole orchestra inside of a piano is what it sounds like. But then when the live strings and then my voice on top of it, it's like the whole. It's like a lift off. Like the whole thing just like elevates, and I felt like I had full body goosebumps, full body chills being in that room with the strings right there and like it all happening in real time. And we ran it a couple times before we started to do the takes, which were just one shot takes. And I think we only did like maybe five or maybe six, but it was all one shot. It was filmed in one shot and recorded in one shot, totally live as if it was a performance. The only difference is we were using really good microphones and capturing it, recording it. Um, but during the run throughs, we all played it, and then we just got like, we would, stop, and it was just like, oh my gosh, like, is everybody hearing what we're all doing right now? Like, this sounds so good. And also, we filmed that in February. I know I didn't post it until May, but we filmed it in February outside of Nashville, and it was still winter there. And because we were recording, you can't run like heat or any like noise has to be dead quiet. So it was so freaking cold, and my hands, like, there's lots of like da 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 on the piano, and no heat was running, and I was like, my hands were just like stiff and cold. But that, with like the exhilaration of like I'm playing with a little mini orchestra for the first time, and like it was just such a high. Like that day was such a rush and such a high of like
Yeah.
uh really really wanted to execute it well. Like, because we
Yeah.
ended up doing a couple more songs that day, two more videos that have not been released yet.
Yeah.
um and so we had shit to do. We had shit to get done, and I really wanted it to be good, but it was just so cool. And what I would like, one of my goals slash dreams, I'm gonna call it a goal because that makes it feel more attainable. I'm gonna call it a goal. Um, is to perform with like local symphonies,
Yeah.
and there are artists that do this. And do my original pieces, but arranged for a full orchestra, and then it's me with the orchestra piano and the orchestra behind me, and I'm singing my little heart out. But there's just, it's a different flavor of performance. It's not a band, but it's an orchestra, and it's still like, still effective, but it's totally different experience.
But you've got that in your voice because you're talking about it being cold, and obviously for your hands that's one thing, but for your voice as well, you don't want it too cold for when you're singing because there's that long note when you sing "Women After All," and you hold that note, and then you just throw that little bit of vibrato in just before the end, and then we come out. I mean, again, just that focus on the technical side of it, because I'm the nerd, right? I'm always looking at like, oh, how's she managing this? But just that decision to do that and to hold it again with all that going on and thinking like, I'd just be listening to them. I wouldn't be playing. I forget.
That note is my Hail Mary at the very end of the song, like, and the vibrato kind of saves me from going off the tracks or from like a vocal crack, or because it's like, there's so much going on that I have to make sure I'm singing strong, but also without being like over singing because I'm being overpowered. And so yeah, it's just like throw caution to the wind, go for the note, and then call in the vibrato when you feel like you need a little extra support to like then, because I also have to taper out the volume. I'm kind of do my I do my own vocal mixing with the mic, with how I control my volume, and so the vibrato kind of helps me pull out of things and find the right texture and the right volume. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's wild. It's wild, very cinematic, and like just so drama too. Honestly, like the drama of it, I fully lean into the drama of it. And I know what you're saying about like theater or theatrical, because I didn't have that experience. I think I would have loved it, but I didn't never did that. But I just give myself fully to the drama because I think like that's what gets you.
That comes across. Like, we should tell people about too when people watch the video. Tell me about the jacket that you're wearing because there's a bit of a story behind that too. That is the concept for it, and then the artwork on it, right?
Trying to get inspiration for like what kind of aesthetic I wanted to do for the visuals, because again, independent artist, you don't have a team, you don't have a stylist that's like wear this, and I have to make all those kind of end game decisions. And so because the song is kind of like about like different forms of like oppression, whether it be like gender oppression or religious oppression, I was trying to think of things that like communicate oppression. And so I was sorry, there's flies. So I was researching different things, and straight jackets came up, but like straight jackets, and then that led to like institutions, and all kind of in like the bygone era, and that led to like institutionalized women. And I started to see the pictures and read these little articles. I'm like, well, unfortunately I'm vibing with this, and this is resonating. This is resonating, so I feel like I should explore this. And the specific jacket that was made was inspired by this German seamstress in the 1840 something, 1849 or something, in Germany, and she was, I don't know, institutionalized for having thoughts and feelings or something, and she was um kept there for, like, years and years and years, I think maybe, like, the rest of her life, and she was maybe in her 30s or something. So, basically, she scripted into her straitjacket, it's so crazy, like, excerpts, like, diary-style entries, words, phrases, um, and she, like, embroidered it and scratched it, like, into her jacket, and just that concept of, like, you have to be able to have some form of self-expression, and no matter how, like, isolated you are, or the lack that you have, you still find a way to express, which for me was my journal.
Yeah.
um and so I just totally resonated with that, just kind of unhinged aspect of, like, I will create by any means necessary.
Yeah.
uh Her story is honored in the, it starts with an H. There's a museum in Germany, I think Heidelberg Museum or something. Yeah, Heidelberg Museum in Germany. Her jacket's there, her story's there. And so yeah, I had that jacket was made, and I used like an ink pen, and I what I did was scribbled. I wrote, well, they look like scribbled. Uh the lyrics to each of the 10 songs across the front and the back and around the entire jacket, to kind of connect with her in that way. So I'm like, she's watching. I hope she's eating her heart out, because this was so, like, I hope I hope that in some realm she saw that happening of, like, yes, women expressing themselves by any means necessary. Like, it's still happening.
Right? We connect with other people. And when you get that sort of through line of this has been happening for centuries, for millennia, and it will always happen into the future, and we just nothing new, and it's unfortunately it's not going away. But I think, like you said, that outlet and knowing that's the case too. And I think that it's good that you're still quite young and you recognize that it's it's funny. I've got friends who say, I don't know if I'm going to play anymore. I don't know if I'm going to play. You'll play. I don't know if I'm going to write any more songs. It's going to come. It's not a tap you can turn off, that creativity, right? So I love that fact that that resonance through someone historical. I didn't know the full story of that. So I'm going to look that up because that sounds super super interesting. Yeah. Well, I know a lot of those asylums in New York, and especially like in the big cities in the US, were hysterical women. Like you said, it's just women who had opinions about things. Or I mean, if you go back 2 more centuries, well, then you were witches, right? And then you were burned, and it's sort of pretty pretty full on. So yeah.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Free of harm. It's a long list unfurls across the floor till it hits my feet miles away. And so when you sort of put that in context of this jacket and this other person, you've got that sense of injustice all the time. I think that it brings even more resonance to that one single line that it's just like, wow, that's heavy, dude.
My stomach, like, but it's like, with my particular story, like, grief has been such a prevalent theme my entire life, and the type of grief that, like, you don't really have control over. It's just placed on you. Like, you have to deal with it. You just have to, no control over it. You're just left to kind of take responsibility and figure out how you're going to move forward. And with that has come a lot of grief, and so that's been a uh, grief has been a part of my life since I was young, and I've had to learn how to kind of like alchemize it. Like, what am I going to do with it? Because otherwise, it feels like it's just sitting in my stomach and making me nauseous and and sick. And so, even with this song, which is kind of like, I would say the format is feels like the way that I wrote it. Very vulnerably. It's kind of just feel. It's more like an open letter. It's like an open letter uh, to that source for me of all of that sadness and pain. Um, and it was so cathartic to like write it down and then give it a melody and then give it a structure and then let other instruments help carry that with me. and now I'm gonna release it to the world, and I think that's where it feels most vulnerable. Like, first and foremost, it was just cathartic for me, and, like, I needed to do it. I needed to just, like, throw it up, like, it just felt like throwing up, but it was literally just part of me, like, processing, these things that just sit inside my psyche and my, heart and my mind, and process it, alchemize it in the only way I know how, which is through creative, first of all, writing, and then melody and music, and then using, it's just crazy because it's like singing is using your actual, like, your full body, like singing is a full body thing, and you're using your muscles and your diaphragm, your stomach, and your throat, and it's like the very things that were that I had to suppress and repress for so long. I'm using those same things to now express and just put out there, and it's so incredibly vulnerable. But um, I feel, I don't know, I feel strongly that it's like really important, and it makes it feel way less about me. Like, trust me, it does not, even though my image is on all the marketing, like, obviously it's my name and my face and me as an artist and me, like, follow Amelia McLean, listen to Amelia McLean. It actually feels so terribly uncool to be in my, like, it doesn't feel cool to be the face of this stuff. And so if anything, it's been like, uh there hasn't really been any room for, like, ego, because it's like this is actually me deciding to step out of the way and just let the vulnerability come through and just hope that it resonates. And I've had moments where it has felt like kind of embarrassed, like I've had to deal with feelings of like embarrassment of like, oh man, there's so many people that don't know, the contents of these songs allude to like really intense things, and a lot of people just don't know that about me, and so it's like, ooh, it almost feels like a sort of coming out in a sense. Um, and so there's been just different feelings that come with that of like, what are people gonna think? Or what if it helps people? What if it pushes people away? What if it makes them like, unfollow? This is now boring. or it's like I've just had to kind of ride that line of like, this could either go this way or it could actually help people, and either way, it's cathartic for me and important for me to like be able to move on. And I'm so excited to like be able to write about like my 20s now and not just my childhood. Like, now that's out and I can't write those songs again, and now I get to write about you know growing up and finding my way here and now.
Heavy. I mean, at this, like I said, at the same time as having a really gentle hand in terms of production and everything being beautifully balanced. I mean, there's stuff on here like we're not going to talk about it too much, but the friend upon daughter that friend upon daughter is, I cannot wait for people to hear that. I honestly think that that might be, it's in my top 4 or 5 favorite bridges of any song ever written by anyone. It's just, it knocks your socks off when you. I'm serious. Like when you hear that, because I remember saying to you the first time, like when that came in, I was like, "What the fuck is this? Like, what is this now? Where are we going?" And that is only ever a good thing in music to me, right? And again, killer bass line in that song too. But like I said to you, I think there's these great tentpole songs you have on this album that, like you said, structurally it flows. It's got this narrative flow to it, and then the things that you put in around that to sort of to bolster all those arguments are all supporting those tentpoles. So you get this super cohesive whole that is made up of these fantastic glittery parts that individually, like I said, picking a single from this album, I mean, good luck. Any one of these 10 could be, depending on what market or whatever, the boring stuff. But as like I said, just the consistency and cohesiveness of it was one of the things that really struck me. And again, it's one of those that you listen to it 10 times, 15, 20 times, 25 times. It only gets better because you start noticing more and you keep connecting with it. And the more that you tell us about the background of some of these songs online, the more you connect with that then, right? So I think it's, yeah, I mean, I love this album. So
Instead of me having to like try and convince people that like, no, I think you actually might really like it. It's because it's not released yet. It's like, it's so, means so much to me to hear you talk about it, because it's like, wow, bullseye, spot on, yes. My so far my worst nightmares are not coming true, of like, oh, this is too sad, sorry, we're not interested. It's like, oh wow, this is what I meant it to be, which is like meaning and depth and like intensity, but with a purpose. And I want, like, with songs, there's like the traditional structure that you follow, like verse, pre-chorus, chorus, second verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. Down chorus, up chorus, tagline, 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 hook, hook, hook. And these songs were not written with any of that in mind, and that's why they were like I composed them. Like they feel like compositions in the same way that we talk about like my roots being in classical piano and reading compositions, and then when it came to writing my own I approached it like a composition and not like a, well, what structure does this need to follow to be a hit, or what does this need to do to be catchy, and where can I put the hook. Like there has to be that a little bit, but all of that type of thinking came in the production phase. The bones were already written, the song was already there with no, literally not a single thought to like what would make this catchy. It was literally like, this is what I need to write, and I need to figure out how the melody is going to work around the things that I need to say.
The choice on this album. Even when there's, I don't know if you know, when you go to the key change, because a key change sometimes can be a bit of a crutch. It's like, I don't know how we get out of this, or not nothing left to say. Oh, a key change, we can put that in there. But the chord progression into the key change on I don't know if you know is so weird and not what you're expecting, or so unexpected, because you go to like it's like a flat fourth or something where it should be a six. So what the chord progression you would expect isn't there, and then when you come back out of that and it's into the key change, it's like no, that's clever. Because I got brought along there. I didn't think we were getting a key change there, and then we got one, and that's again to me. If you're going to do a key change, make it interesting, and it's super interesting in that song.
We're going to do it exactly like on the nose because it was making us laugh, and like this is the right thing to do, and it hits in all the right places of like, no way there's a key change. But also the key change happened, the key change decision happened in production. The song, when I wrote it, it didn't have the key change, but I think when we kind of revisited it, um, Justin had the idea of like, would it be crazy if we did a key change? And I was like, what would it sound like? And we kind of like worked it out, and then we listened back. And we were like, we're gonna do a key change, aren't we? Like, is this what we're doing? And I was like, you know what? It's very like Southern gospel, but let's freaking do it. Yep. Yeah.
Moments that you only use once on the album all through. Tell Me's got that. We were talking about that where you drop out near the end, and then you've got the build, and then you've got that vocoder thing on the vocal, which is just this one little bright, ephemeral, kind of gorgeous moment in the song, and then it's gone. So they're all sort of transitory, and they turn up and then they leave. And so every single moment on the album is it's kind of a one shot, and again shows, I think, really very, very high level musicianship, attention to detail, knowing what you want, being able to sort of structure things. Like you said, it's a composition rather than just a pop song. You know what? Most people, if they really sat down, probably could write a pop song. Not many people could write Friend Upon Daughter. Not many people could write Harmless. You know what I mean? Those are songs that are
No, that was had its own little moment in time. Truly, that was crazy.
right honestly. I mean, that's the trick for any true artist, right? Is write honestly, present honestly, and then you'll find that connection with the right people. And I think that as you're talking about, the catharsis side of it and that embarrassment side of it, I wouldn't worry too much about that, because the people who it doesn't land with, you don't need them, and the people who it does, I think you'll have for life. I think they'll stick with you from this point on, right? So
This is about expression and freedom and art and making art for art's sake. So that's where it's been humbling. Yes. Yep. The album Well, I haven't technically announced the date officially. I have yet to announce that. I'm still deciding. I don't know. Should I announce it with the first single or like with the second or the third? Because there's going to be a couple more songs before the album comes out. Um, but I'll say the album comes out this fall. For real, for real. For real, for real. Still on vinyl, for real, for real. Yep. You better believe you're gonna get one. I'll send you. You're gonna get a vinyl and a straight jacket in your size. The inner circle fan group gets the you each get a straight jacket. Yeah,
Next singles that's coming off this album, and we get all these behind the scenes little things. You bring us into your life, and you let us know what's going on. You let us know when you've injured yourself playing pickleball, when you've had surgery, when you've got all these things going on. We get to see all that, and I think that connection with you just goes a little bit stronger through that. So, where can people find you online? Where should they look?
chose it because it's subscription based, but the entire subscription goes directly to me. So actually, the subscription that I've um, gotten through Patreon uh, has totally been a huge part of funding all of this. And so it goes straight to just being able to make more art, which is very, very cool because I'm totally independent. And so it's Patreon, and then it's just my name, Amelia McLean. You can search me, and I think I have two tiers, a $5 tier and a $10 tier. And yeah, it's a way that you can kind of go behind the scenes with me, and I'm sharing things that I don't share on social media, more unfiltered, some vlog type stuff, some behind the scenes, some cover songs here and there, some just random rambling like life talking to the camera while I'm doing random shit. Um, so I'm trying to, navigate like what do people actually want to see. So I'm just doing a little bit of everything on there. And then yeah, Instagram, Facebook. I'm keeping everybody updated as best I can with the videos and content. So yeah, the single comes out this Friday, and it's going to be on all streaming platforms. It's going to be on Spotify, wherever you stream your music, Amazon, Spotify. What are the other ones? I'm missing Apple. Apple is the other one. Tidal, all the things. So yeah, I'm very, 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 very excited. And then there's over the next short while, couple months, there's going to be some more songs coming out. So just stick with me because one thing after the next.
Favorite artist music because you know expose the artists die of exposure. That's the saying, right? The exposure is not enough. We need money as well. So go pay people for their art. Go support Amelia. Go check out the Patreon. Go check out the YouTube channel and go subscribe to that. And make sure you're checking out everything she's doing moving forward because I'm telling you, like, I think you're destined for great things. So
I'm just going to take it one thing at a time. One thing at a time.
this piece of work you've created, and I've told you this before, I think it's so stunningly brilliant, especially for a debut artist, someone who's coming onto the scene who no one's sort of heard before, and you're not working with, the sort of the top tier Jack Aronoff and all these guys who generally tend to be the ones who create a lot of this art for people. To come out with these 10 songs, with the impact, the performance, your vocal is incredible on this album. The piano playing is brilliant, the arrangement is brilliant, everything about it is superb. People are going to fall in love with it. And I just want people to know that this is a serious work by a serious artist. There's no fluff on here. It's all good stuff. Get your teeth into
Well, that just made my night.
it.
Yeah, I'm gonna replay that little spiel at 3 p.m. every day when I'm having my afternoon crash while I'm doing all the things behind the scenes. I'm like, is this gonna do anything? I'm gonna replay that. Thank you, Kevin. That is so kind, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to share and keep sharing the songs, and it's gonna be very, very fun.
Just
Also,
remember
this
when you win your first Grammy, first interview.
that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, we gotta do these like quarterly check-in things,
Absolutely.
and just capture the progression.
I'm in.
Thanks for hopping on here. Thanks for doing this with me. Thanks for asking the questions and having the convo. This was fun.
You're more than welcome. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you.
Awesome. Okay, well, I think we're gonna wrap up our night. Thanks for spending the hour with us, you guys. And yeah, that's all we got.
We were worried we weren't going to fill half an hour.
No, I feel like yeah, we just like keep talking. Thanks guys for tuning in. Thank you Teresa. Thank you Mel and everybody else that's gonna watch. I'm gonna posthumously share this.
Oh no, don't
Posthumously.
say that.
No, is that after death?
Yeah.
What's the after stream? Post stream? Okay, post stream.
Posthumously. Posthumously. There we go. I'll go with that.
I'm gonna share this posthumously, and if you have questions, you can still throw them in the comments. All
Okay,
right.
thanks everyone.
Thank you guys. We'll talk to you later. We'll see you next time. Over and out. Okay, bye.
Bye bye.